And welcome back to On the Record. In studio, Dr. Jones. And I was looking at some of the stats, and obviously we look at the good stats sometimes and we look at the bad stats. And according to a regular flu, every season there's roughly between 2,000 and 8,000 people who die as part of that flu. And the H1N1, and we're not even you're not even close to that. And
right.
So I think that's something that people, I guess, have to be aware of too, is that regularly flu and we don't hear about it.
We don't hear about
the flu,
right.
and something happens.
Right.
Because it's a new strain, now it's,
right.
It's becoming, I guess, an issue because it's a pandemic, as they're calling it. So.
But that being said, I just want to touch on that, is that normally with a seasonal flu, it tends to affect people over the age of 65. And so we know that people in long-term care, people who have comorbid problems, who have chronic diseases are more at risk of complications, like pneumonia, like putting them into congestive heart failure, etc. So there's complications that will be their cause of death, and we may not be very good at determining, oh, well, this is a flu-related death.
Yeah.
So these are based on estimates. It's very remarkable that we have, that we've had young women who are pregnant who are admitted to hospital with the flu. I mean, that's not a common thing. That we've had children admitted to intensive care units. That's very unusual. That you actually have children dying. We haven't had any deaths in Quebec, but worldwide from the flu is very unusual. And I think. And so the question is, well, okay, so we've had 78 deaths in the first wave. Now we're into the 90s. Is it a number thing? I mean, to me, every life counts, but we're seeing it in younger people. We're seeing it in breadwinners. We're seeing it in children. I think, to me, so the other flip side to that is, well, how many deaths is considered acceptable? And I think because we have a good preventable measure that we can put in place, it's not acceptable and if we can prevent a death, I think that's sort of like the bottom line.
Is the vaccine safe?
The flu vaccine is very safe, and there's been a lot of misinformation about this particular vaccine, and I think it's important to just kind of remind people a few things. It's considered a new vaccine because it's a new flu virus. And so obviously we didn't have any viral particles in stock to be able to make this vaccine. And so yes, it's a new vaccine because you have new particles that are introduced to making the vaccine. The process, the manufacturing, the procedures, all of the quality control issues are exactly the same for regular flu, the seasonal flu vaccine. Nothing has been compromised. What has been shortened are the clinical trials. And so the World Health Organization recommended, listen, rather than each country doing their own, why don't you share and swap information? And so what's being done in China or in Australia, that information should be good enough for Canada, etc. And so the clinical trial periods have been shortened. That doesn't mean that we're not still monitoring. It doesn't mean that there's not surveillance. That is being surveilled. That's being looked at. We're looking at side effects. And basically the data that has been coming back has not shown anything out of the ordinary with this particular vaccine. It's considered to be a very safe vaccine. The other thing that's a little bit different about this vaccine is something called an adjuvant. So these are substances that are added to a vaccine, which allows less viral particles to be introduced, and you can produce more vaccines. So in the end, you're getting less of a virus, but you're getting a booster to help your immune system. And these things are not new. They've been around for over 30 years, and they are already part of our children's vaccines that we're giving. So anyone that has children under the age of 12 who's had vaccines have already been exposed to these particles, and they have also had a very safe profile. So I'm very confident. We've started our vaccination campaign. We've done our healthcare workers and our frontline workers, our first responders, and I think we've given close to 400 vaccines in the starting last Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday.
When all the vaccines or the days that are set up for the clinics for the vaccines, will there be enough?
Well, it's going to depend on the response. So So the bottom line is that if we need more vaccines, we will get more vaccines. So we have a certain amount, we have an allotment, and we will, every 2 or 3 or on a weekly basis, we will be getting more vaccines if we need more vaccines. So for example, we've received a certain number of doses. We should have enough to cover the whole weekend. So on Monday, we'll be getting another batch for the Monday, Tuesday dates. That being said, there is a shortage of vaccines across the nation, so they're being given out in batches, and which has caused a lot of logistic problems, because now not only are we having to give the vaccines, but we're also having to police who is coming in to get the vaccine. And that's not our job, that's not our role, but we're forced to do that because we want to get to the high-risk groups. So it's important for people to respect the priority groups, because we want to get, they're called priority groups because we know that these are the groups of people that are more at risk of complications. And so the first group is infants who are 6 months to 5 years old, mothers of infants under the age of 6 months, and we should say also the caregivers, it could be a father or a mother, immunosuppressed clients, so people who are on medication and who are immunocompromised, pregnant women, 18 years and under with a chronic illness. So if you have a young person who has diabetes, has asthma, and kind of cardiac disease, those are the persons that are going to be part of the first priority group.
How are we going to screen that?
Well, we're going to trust people. We're going to base it on people's code of ethics. So we're not going to be, if we see someone that's clearly not part of this priority group, then they may be turned away and asked to come back on another visit. Yeah. The second group on Saturday is going to be persons between 19 and 65 with a chronic illness, and young people between the ages of 5 and 18. On Sunday, we're going to have adults between 19 and 65 and adults over the age of 65. And on Monday and Tuesday, it's going to be open to all. Now, these have been posted in various parts in the community. There's something going out into the Eastern Door on Friday, and we had a mail out yesterday that people received in their mailboxes. So I believe there were like 1,700 copies that went out yesterday.